With regards to weapons and armor, we had many of the same challenges as the rest of the art production. It was very important that we hit on a lot of the same philosophies that we did with creatures or environments, architecture, which is some of the oversizing of items and colors and exaggeration and things like that.
Specific challenges I think we had with doing the items and the weapons in the game was like the progression of coolness factor from an item you get at level 1 to an item you get at level 60. We wanted to make sure to reward the player when they're playing, and so even at level 1, we want them to feel epic and cool. And at level 60, we still want, the same wow factor. It was always a challenge to make sure that the low-level items in the game were still rewarding and cool looking. So we tried to come up with a visual progression of what people can expect to receive in the game.
Early on, they were probably a little too dry, a little too toned down, and we realized not too far into production that we needed to kind of not only start beefing them up and exaggerating them, but also playing around with some little effects and things we could do to make the weapons really feel sharp, but without utilizing a whole lot of technology.
I think towards the end of production, we pretty much abandoned making low-level, average-looking equipment in the game and started to front-load your play experience with just exciting weapons as much as we could and challenge ourselves to come up with even more interesting, exciting, shimmery, glowy, enticing loot or weapons and items, for the higher levels in the game.
In fact, with our spell team, those guys actually came in more towards the latter end with weapons and really helped us find even that sort of next increment where really uber items could not only be beautiful and really ornate with texture and environment maps, but we could even push them further with actually adding some spell attributes along with them so that you'd maybe get this flame sort of righteousness and you would kind of get these cool fiery effects coming off of it. And that was really yet another progression that really helped us at the end, just kind of pull those way over the top.
After that, everyone just got excited again about seeing glows and fireballs and dripping poisons and ice spells and things just kind of emanating out of the weapon. It's just that next level of progression to help incentivize people to keep playing the game and look for stuff in the game. In addition to the items and the weapons that you're questing for in the game, there's all kinds of armor, helmets and shoulder pads and chest plates and boots, all kinds of stuff. So some of the same rules that we had for designing the weapons all apply to the armor, and there's a wealth of Warcraft history and mythos and already established look and feel. So we basically eventually decided to pull from what we already had. We did a lot of initial designing up front as well, but there was no shortage of pre-existing art and design concept work to pull from.
Yeah, I remember when we decided just to go ahead and pretty straightforward just copy the old orc battle harness kind of outfit straight out of War II, and that really struck a chord with the entire team because now suddenly we had these higher poly detail characters where you're looking at them in first person, but no one had really gotten the sense that this thing was Warcraft yet. And so seeing one of these orcs kind of pacing around with a horned fur-rimmed helmet and this battle harness and fur leggings, I mean, it really kind of got everybody geeked up because now they felt like they were really down in this world, in this Warcraft universe, and just kind of getting to experience it. And really now I'm really actually seeing an orc up close from Warcraft, not just any orc from any game. That gave us sort of a hook where then we felt once we had nailed those down, we could kind of continue on and actually evolve those further and actually start to create our own style from those. It was definitely a positive mark in outfit creation.
All of our modelers and texture artists all do concepts, and so we just let them all at it and just see what people could come up with. Something as simple as just the boots in the game of just different chess pieces and a lot of stuff floating around to pull from.
Yeah, and that was where we needed to decide exactly how we were going to organize these because, we knew we had the Horde Alliance thing, but we didn't know specifically just how far we should break it down. We have quite a few races on each side, and sometimes those share a lot of themes with each other, and sometimes they don't because, you have the difference in a night elf and a human, and there was a great dichotomy, whereas the night elves almost fit more visually with, say, a Horde. We needed to actually give them some of their own flavor, but in the long run, what the biggest distinction was Horde and Alliance, and that as long as we covered the bases for each race, really they just needed to kind of fall into those two categories.
In addition, everything's broken down into cloth, leather, mail, and plate, and then there's robes and stuff. As we got further down development, we started accumulating all these outfits and trying to keep them organized in a way that all the different artists could reference them and see where we were deficient. Oh, we need more plate mail armor. Oh, we have too much cloth armor. And so we just started to organize them in a spreadsheet, and with the naming conventions and with the level of progression, you can look down the spreadsheet and see, oh, okay, here's like the low level intermediate stuff, higher level stuff, up to the really exciting stuff.
We didn't realize how much that was going to help us, because we really had started doing it for the designers mostly. So as they would take the art that we would create, we knew that they needed a way that they could see an entire outfit that we had intended as a whole, whether or not you would find it as such in the game.
Right.
But what it ended up doing was actually feeding back to us as well, because now we had this very big visual right in front of our face, and we started realizing, oh, hey, maybe some of these leathers are all kind of looking the same, or that, from a distance we're not really getting a lot of contrast between them. So it really helped push us to go further with the outfits, and really we could see that progression, and we can say, oh, okay, now maybe we mix these two up, or we need 3 more at the end of this string, so that we really got a full kit that a player would get in a particular area or as a particular alliance or horde member.
In addition, we also organized all the weapons on spreadsheets as well, and it showed us the progression of the first level weapons all the way to the higher level equipment. And we had one-handed versions, two-handed versions, and there's all kinds of weapons in the game. Swords and shields and hammers and maces and knives and thrown weapons, and there was just so many different things to keep organized that we're just trying to stay on top of it all. I think organization was like one of the big things we learned on this project, is that I don't think you could be too organized with trying to keep track of it, especially if multiple people are working on it. I think in the end it paid off. I've been watching people play the game with these guild raids with dozens and dozens of people, and I never see 2 people that look exactly the same dressed up running around. So that's a big relief.